It's been 6 years of podcasting, and without our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to bring these podcasts to you. So I want to thank today's sponsors. And first off, we have the Pretentious Pickle Company of 190 Water Street in Plymouth. If you haven't had a chance to get down there, go down and check out what they make. They have everything pickled you can imagine, from pickled beets to carrots to mushrooms to onions to Brussels sprouts and cauliflower. They even have pickled or pickled flavor cotton candy, I should say. They make it fresh there every day, and you can go in there and check out what they have to offer. And if you're not in the Plymouth area, you can go to pretentiouspickle.com and check out what they have to offer there as well, and they will ship it out to you. Their stuff is delicious. You should check it out, and they are big fans of ours, and we are big fans of theirs. So thank you to the Pretentious Pickle Company for sponsoring today's episode. And our second sponsor today is Moonrise Cinemas. Moonrise Cinemas is a new drive-in in Plymouth, right on the Plymouth-Kingston line. They are located at 428 Court Street in Plymouth, Mass. And they offer a great selection of movies. You can go. It's very family-friendly. I went and checked out the Goonies there. They've had Marvel movies, a wide variety of stuff. And they're really starting to expand. They have had the Rocky Horror Picture Show this coming year. They're doing music on Thursday nights. On Wednesdays are going to be 420 friendly events. So make sure you check out what they have to offer. moonrisecinemas.com. It's a great venue. They have a beer garden. They have their own food. Their food's phenomenal. And they're bringing back their French toast, which I'm very excited about. So make sure you check out what they have to offer, moonrisecinemas.com. And if you use code INEBRIART when purchasing tickets, you'll get 10% off. So make sure you go to moonrisecinemas.com to get your tickets for movies, concerts, and more. And use code INEBRIART for 10% off on your purchase. And now let's jump right into the podcast. Perfect. Welcome back to the Bar Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Andy of Inebriart, and that burp you heard was Jordan Chabot of the Speedwell Tavern.
Nice and gurgly for you.
Yeah. We're also joined by Karl of the New World Tavern.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you, Karl, for letting us record at the New World Tavern.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Karl.
People in my establishment.
Are you still hungover? We just got back from Vegas.
No, but I tell you what, I didn't win a goddamn thing.
I like the prediction. And Ryan Chabot of the Speedwell Tavern is also here.
I'm back.
Oh, you know what? Hang on. Let me...
I'm muted.
No, I just muted Dan's microphone.
Good idea.
Yeah. You guys have worked in the bar and restaurant industry forever. For yourself.
At least seems like it.
Yeah, and for other people. And at some point, you're probably like, fuck other people's rules. I want to set my own rules. Is there a difference between a solid rule in the industry, or is everything kind of like a philosophy on how you run your business? Right?
That was very good.
Thank
you.
Very good. This is Karl's idea, by the way.
No, I think it's definitely a philosophy on how you run your business.
Yeah.
When I opened 10 years ago, I didn't know any better. I should have had at least one absolute, but I should have had many, many absolutes, because I think the more you let go, the more away from your policies and procedures it actually gets there. Mm-hmm. And if you had absolute rules that if you break, you're gone, or you definitely cannot do X, then I think you maintain more of a control over your own environment. Being a small place here, it's always kind of nice to say, oh, well, they're trying. But if you worked in the corporate world where somebody's making, $10 million a month, and they have 15 restaurants, and they're going to have more of control. I want to say issues, but over their employees and what they do. And sometimes I don't think that's a bad thing. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do, because I always think that my employees are going to do the best for me as a businessman and the owner and their boss. But a lot of times they don't. So where do you make, and I'll give you one example, which is just a strange example, but an example. You can wear shorts, but you can't wear ripped jeans. If you're going to wear jeans, they can't be ripped. Dungarees, whatever we're calling them out there.
Dungarees.
Okay?
Tell me you're old, but I'll tell
You can wear dungarees. I prefer you wear slacks. Yeah, I would prefer you wear slacks, but
Your galoshes.
so you don't wear ripped jeans. That's if you're gonna wear pants, don't wear it.
Is that is that an actual rule you have here?
No,
Oh, okay.
no.
Okay.
But today you can't buy jeans that aren't ripped.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You know, so people come in now. There's 32 rips in their jeans, and you're like, okay,
Yeah, you've crossed the maximum of 30 rips.
right. What's the maximum
Here's
amount
a
of
sewing
rips you're
needle.
allowed to?
Yeah.
So I think if I had started to say no ripped jeans 10 years ago, that you wear X, Y, and Z only. You can only wear those three things. If you wear shorts, they have to be tan. If you wear, jeans, they can't be ripped. People are coming in now with so many rips. I'm surprised the friggin' jeans are still in one piece. You know?
It's true.
It's the pieces of flair.
yeah. It's
I was saying
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah,
man.
Well, do I
I
can't-
have 17 pieces of flair. We're supposed to wear
like to talk about my
17. Yeah, but that doesn't mean you're trying hard enough. You know, Carl over
So
there
an
has
absolute
40.
rule to me
And a
would have
great
been
smile.
no ripped jeans. There would have been no questions.
Yeah.
Now one little rip was okay, and then two little rips are, then all of a sudden it's you can see their whole leg because it's hanging off by a string.
Right.
Where do you draw that line? You can't draw the line.
You can't on that one. I was going to
can't.
say, like, that's an absolute you really, now, can't
That's an
have.
absolute.
Yeah.
You could,
You could. Like,
Yeah,
in
you
the
could just
kitchen,
say- yeah.
you could.
but
like,
such a
that's
silly.
fire hazard.
It's such a silly rule
Yeah.
to have it as an absolute. But things have gone where ripped jeans were 10 years ago not even existent. And now they're, if you don't have ripped jeans, something's wrong with you.
It's funny just to use ripped jeans as like a specific because it just kind of came back to me when I went to a vocational school and you could wear jeans to shop, but you couldn't have rips either on the bottoms of your jeans or on your knees or anything like that. And that was super in style at the time. Like NSYNC was big and all that when I was in high school. So like everybody, as soon as they were in academics, would wear all their ripped jeans and they go to shop and wear their square clothes. But it'd be funny because there was so much gray area. Like I'd be bending down working something and rip my knee on something and be like, yo, like, do I have to change my clothes now?
Go
Like,
home.
no, that's okay because it happened here. Well, I'm going to wear these again in a couple days and it happened here. Is that what's the difference between today? And then that's when it starts to, no pun intended, unravel.
Oh.
But that's where I think the absolutes have to be absolute. And I'm just picking that one, and I think it's a silly one. But an absolute rule has to be absolute.
So, all right, let's throw out the obvious absolute rule. So go around the table and pick one. Stealing.
Stealing.
You get caught stealing, you're done.
Done.
Because you're going to do it again.
Done.
Yeah.
And you
I-
should, and
and
having
you've
the
been doing
mentality
it.
where you think
And
that's
if you got
okay.
caught, it's not the first time that you did it to get caught.
Yep.
You've done it in the past. This is just so yes, stealing.
That's an absolute.
But let's go back. Let's and I want you to. Ryan, Jordan's brother, the Chabot we like best, is here, and I want his opinion as a non-business owner. What you think about this absolute? Okay, Jordan and I have talked about it a bunch of times, so let's just get his version of it. And we are going to play devil's advocate. You go one way, I'll go the other.
Okay.
So let's say an absolute is you have to be on time for work. Okay, so if you start your position at 1 o'clock, you should be punched in no later than 1 o'clock. Okay, that's the absolute. You punch in, you're gone. Should that be an absolute, or is that just policy?
I would say policy.
Okay,
Honestly,
why?
I think there should be some wiggle room there. I mean, unless is it just so even if they hit some traffic or something. I mean, there's always you should have left your house earlier.
Yeah.
Get your priorities straight. You should be always aiming to show up earlier than your start time. So you should be aiming. So I guess it's tough. It's tough. I don't know. Because you should be aiming to be there at 1:15. Giving you that 15
Then
minutes
schedule me
wiggle
for
time.
1:15.
But then
But there's the other thing. So
But-
there are unknown unknowns. Like, what if your car breaks down?
That's the thing. That's where I always go.
Like-
I go. Is there a pattern?
Even a flat
Right.
tire.
3
All
strikes.
right,
Where's the
let's
leeway?
say you're just late.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, it's not because an emergency happened, which a car breaking down is an emergency.
Right.
That's an
But
uncontrollable.
that's where the absolute becomes a problem.
Well, so let's talk about that. So if I said you have to start at 1 o'clock, that's your starting time, and you punch in at 1:02, do I fire you? It's an absolute.
I guess you have to, but
But what? Go ahead.
You're not going to have many staff members.
yeah.
At least the speedwell.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm
No,
not disagreeing.
but if that's your absolute, then yeah, you got it.
So that would be more of a policy. Punch in on time.
Right.
I think every place has that policy. You can't just show up when you want.
Right. I'm saying, could you make that an absolute in this industry?
Ooh, that'd be tough. It'd be tough to make it an absolute. Yeah,
I don't know if you can make it an absolute in any
I don't
industry.
know if you'd be able to.
So, and
Not a
again,
Speedwell,
it
you
sounds
wouldn't.
really silly. Let's go to every other industry in the world. You have to be on time for work.
There are certain
Oh,
things.
no, I'm a bartender. No, I don't.
Eh.
What?
There's certainly that mentality.
Yeah.
I've had it.
Right. If I'm 5 minutes late, who cares?
Right.
Now, I've got employee B who comes in at 1:30 all the time. Do I fire him? I can't fire you for being 2 minutes late. I can't fire them for being 30 minutes late because late is late.
You got to manage it, I think. It's not so much about that individual. Like, you can have it as your policy. It's your job as a manager not let it get out of control or consistent, because the people who are doing the right thing are going to see that you're letting that kind of fly open. You know what I mean? Like, the people that show up at 1 o'clock or a little bit early for their shift come in every week consistently and do that. And then
On
they
time.
then on time,
Yep.
then they see the guy or girl on the side of them show up consistently late and not get any penal. They're gonna look at that and be like, "The fuck am I showing up on time for?"
That's right. Well, I
It
guess it's
doesn't
not that
matter.
important.
And it's just
It's not
all
that
like,
important.
and there is like, it's so stupid. There's all these studies behind it, like, oh, people who show up late are just smarter and better time managers when you're deep down, and they get more done, so they know they don't have to be there early. No, it's
I
about
don't think
respect,
that's true.
kind of. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's
absolutely.
like people trying to find excuses for
Yeah.
it. I think it's more about respect. Honestly, it's like, okay, I am supposed to be there in this time. They're paying me. I am on their time from here on. But then it's that back to the, like, Rye mentioned showing up 15 minutes early for the shift to just be prepared and all that. Well, now you're fucking with my time. Like,
Right.
that's my 15 minutes, and you're just assuming I'm going to give them to you. No, I'll be there at 1. You schedule me for 1, I'll be there
That's
at 1.
correct.
And I know you're paying me for those 15 minutes early that I'm there. Most places, corporate, they won't let you punch in at some spots. Like, I know we talked about beer distributors, they won't. You would people line up at the punch clock and wait for the time,
No
and boom, boom,
shit.
boom, and by the time you get to the end of the line, that guy's
late.
15 minutes
Yeah,
late.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
that's a whole other set
Well-
of BS, and I think we talked about
Yeah,
that.
so I guess, if the absolute was don't be late, is 2 minutes late different from 20 minutes late?
No.
Well, let me paint another picture for you. You have Ryan Chabot comes in. He punches in. He makes himself a cup of coffee. Checks his phone.
Takes a poop.
Takes a
I
poop.
used to do that.
Goes and chit chats with the bartender for a
Yep.
while, and he's there for 20 minutes before he actually starts working. Do you fire him?
No, you talked to him about it.
But isn't that stealing your money?
Well,
because from the corporate world,
but I think
they call that
you're taking
stealing
that
time.
one step beyond, I think, what we should be taking it on.
Yeah, you're looking for some.
No,
right.
but I'm saying there
But
are
it is.
places.
Well, how about this?
Yeah,
How
because
about this?
you're getting
If you
paid.
really want to get down to it,
Yeah.
me and Ryan are cooks. We cook side by side all night long. I'm a smoker. He's not. I can take 5 minutes. He can't.
We're doing that again.
That used to drive me
God damn
crazy.
it, we're going down that fucking.
But you know what I mean?
rabbit
So
hole.
that's what I'm saying. So
I'm right
let's-
there with you.
Let's say all things are equal.
Yeah.
And I pick being late. We can pick whatever subject you
Yeah.
want. Is being late for 2 minutes the same thing as being late for 20 minutes?
No,
To me, it
of course
is.
not.
I
To
say
me,
it
is.
isn't.
That's definitely not.
You're either late or you're not.
A lot can happen
Doesn't matter.
between walking from your car to your place of work, and that's where I think the 2 minutes is like okay. 20 minutes of shit can't happen from walking to your car and going into your place of work. Like, all right, so Plymouth is unique, and I would say I'm just going to use Speedwell as an example because it's the most recent one. Like, for example, like me and Rye yesterday were working, waiting for the guys to come in at night. There's like a guy who's notoriously late all the time, and I know this wasn't the reason why he was late, but often on Sundays or Saturdays on the weekend, there's nowhere to fucking park, and guys are circling around. Now, sure, they can leave 20 minutes earlier to find 20 minutes to drive around and park. Yes, we all understand that is the answer to this question. But we're all human beings. There's those situations. You can't predict what you're going to run into. Now, I'm leaving the house 20 minutes early. I get a parking spot right away. I'm like, okay, now I'm 20 minutes early to work. So there is that. again, the ultimate answer is you're going to have a hard time finding parking.
But
so
there's
leave earlier.
also days where you just don't know. Like if there's the Cage Titans at Memorial Hall, and you don't, so now I gotta know what's going on at New World, Spire Center, Memorial Hall, just to find a parking spot.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't know if I.
So, again, devil's advocate. Now you own two places. The second place has a parking lot. Those people are always on time. If they work at the other place, you can say, well, they don't have to be on time over there, but they have to be on time over here.
You don't say they don't have to be on
No.
time.
Yeah.
The policies and procedures
in your
that
head
we
you
have.
might say
Absolutely.
that.
But
You know?
there are legit. Again, most of my background's in the corporate industry. That was a thing. Like, if you worked, I think it was if you worked in town, there were certain places where you had more time to get to work because if you took public transportation, that's literally out of your control.
Correct.
If the train breaks down, you can't be like, well, you should have taken the train earlier. You should have, but there's a certain amount of shit hits the fan. It's out of your control.
Okay.
I always say you got to be flexible. Everything's case by case. Manage each
I
person.
I
when someone's
100%
full of
agree with
shit,
that. It is case by case.
Right.
And I know I'm trying to do black and white, and I know
Yeah.
it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm playing that.
That's-
I'm trying to play that
for
devil
sure,
advocate. So let's take timing out of there, and let's say that's a policy.
But I want to jump back to stealing.
Yeah, stealing's an easy one.
You'd think so, but what if I give a regular free drink? Is that stealing or not stealing? Like at what you
Depends on the policy.
if you reach your hand in, but see, that's my point. Is one of those like if you reach your hand into the till and take money out, that's stealing.
Correct.
But the definition of stealing is more of a policy than a cardinal rule.
I think that's up to you as the employer to set the precedent of what the difference is between stealing and not stealing is. Where I sit down at meetings, I'm like, hey guys, like Speedwell is a place that isn't Speedwell if we don't have regulars. So yeah, if someone's coming in a lot, tipping well, being a good customer, throw them a beer here and now. I don't need to know about it.
Yeah.
You don't got to text
See,
me.
now I would say that's a bad policy. The policy that you should have is charge it to my tab,
That's what they do.
and I'll pay for it.
Yeah, and that's
don't
what
tell
they-
me I don't want to know about it. I
Bad
want
policy.
everything tracked.
Yeah.
I want
fucking
everything
guy.
tracked. I'm okay if you give a beer, and the house is buying that beer.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I know what beers I'm buying from my customers. I don't want you to give away free stuff just and don't
give it
tell
away.
me just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's a regular customer that we really like. I don't mind the policy of giving them a little extra here and there, but track it so that I know.
Right.
I want to make sure that you're not doing that
Right.
for 42 times a night. I mean,
Well, that's
course,
splitting.
yeah.
Now we're splitting hairs. I mean,
But
I want to get back to the core of
well, my
the stealing,
point
where
is
you're
just like what constitutes stealing.
correct.
So like if you're in the kitchen and you grab one pepperoni,
That's stealing.
right? But is that a terminable offense?
See-
Exactly. Now, if you turn that around and say, well, I took 5 pepperoni pizzas last night and didn't tell anybody.
That's
Stealing. They're right. It's such a weird.
Feeding all
It is.
Quincy.
It's
Yeah.
like being the 2 minutes late and
Right.
20 minutes late.
Right.
There is.
Because you could even have the guy being like, there was no date on this pepperoni or whatever, tomatoes. I wanted to make sure it was okay to serve, which is legit, I guess. I mean,
These conversations make me realize how loose Speedwell is.
Well, the thing-
you know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
we're
you're
just
right.
like, we don't give a fuck about
Listen,
any of that, dude.
I think it's part of the reason why we thrive, man.
Yeah, it's just like we're not paying attention to the stupid little things like that. It's
but
like,
there are
yeah,
people that do.
you can't be too
for
nitpicky.
sure.
and good
And
luck to them.
Yeah.
Because if that's what you're wasting your energy on is a piece of pepperoni, then
I'm
you're
just-
missing
Well, no,
way
I
more
think
important
he's
things.
trying to give you the one ass,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
wait,
we're all
wait,
human
wait.
beings here. Why are we pretending like we don't know the difference between like grand larceny in a restaurant and petty theft?
Because
Like,
the
what are we
question is
doing here? We're
because the
wasting our
question is
energy.
no, the question is where is that line then?
Yeah.
It's up to you to decide that. As an employer, why are we pretending like we don't all do that?
We're not pretending anything. We're not pretending anything. We're
It's
we're,
exhausting.
we're saying when is people stealing from Speedwell? What is the line?
Taking a liquor bottle, like so you can tell when it's a malicious activity and not just grazing.
Okay.
Like
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So you're saying stealing, if it's malicious, they should be fired. Or whatever.
right, and
Yeah.
it's up to you to define what malicious is. And I think after working for you for a certain point, people are going to understand what malicious is. Eating a plate of chicken wings while working in my kitchen is okay. Taking a bag of chicken wings home is not.
I agree.
Right, you know,
I think
that's
everybody
we
knows
agree,
that.
but
I think
it's
that's
just-
a great. No, I think that's
Yeah.
a great term. Is it malicious? So let's go back to the timing. Is 2 minutes late? Maybe that's not malicious. They were trying to find a parking spot. They were trying to do something.
Correct.
Is it 30, 45 minutes late?
Then
Okay,
it's like,
now it's a
fuck
little
you.
malicious. That
Yeah.
There you go.
That is what is the intent?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, if you're 20 minutes late, there's intent there. Like you knew you were leaving the house late. You left the house knowing you were going to be late.
Barring any Well, hey, they shut the road down.
And this is one of those things.
But I think malicious is that's the malicious.
Malicious?
That's the perfect thing.
Who's
if
malicious?
it's malicious, you're right. If it's malicious, then
Yeah. And it's like, there's no excuse for being 20 minutes late and not picking up the phone.
That's the other thing too. Communication.
You can be
Yeah,
like,
a
I'm
little heads
stuck
up.
in traffic.
Yeah. All right.
You know,
Here we go.
listen out
This
the
is
window.
perfect.
Beep, 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 beep. You know,
I
like whatever.
100% agree.
Yeah.
How many
them up.
times can your grandmother die?
Well,
We played that game.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
I said dead? I meant dying.
Yeah.
Well, it's my adopted grandma.
okay,
I actually
so-
have 4.
So you're going to be 20 minutes late,
Yeah.
and it's a Saturday afternoon right before shift changes. It's busy. You're the night person coming on,
The night man cometh.
right? Are you calling the restaurant? Are you texting people? Now all of a sudden people have to be on their phones to get the text, and what are we doing now? Your employees are on the phone.
Well,
Is it malicious?
you don't have to
Malicious?
call the-
Keep saying
Militia.
that. Malicious. Is it
Are we
malicious?
taking up
Part of a
arms
militia?
and battling?
Maleficent, that's a great movie. No, but you have a person that you report to. And if I'm going to be 20 minutes late, I remember one time, this was actually coming home, but I ended up canceling my plan. I get stuck behind a bus fire by the canal.
That's bullshit. There's no way
bus
that's real.
fire?
A school bus,
You push it in the
legitimately
canal.
on fire.
Keep going.
Bus fire.
Like,
There's
it's-
a unicorn.
Getting
So-
stuck behind a bus anyway sucks,
Yeah.
but on fire.
It was on fire. The fucking road was shut down. Now, if I was on my way to Speedwell Tavern, would I text Ryan and be like, hey, man, I'm stuck behind this bus fire, blah, blah, blah? No, I would call Jordan and be like,
You better not.
really?
Yeah, not a Speedwell.
You get a better chance at contacting the front of the house. 'Cause the guy's not.
But this is the thing: is it's
We're
more
getting
about
slammed.
accountability. I am calling to let you know I'm going to be late. This is what's happening. It's bus fire. I can send you a fucking picture. Then it's
Got that
accounted.
off of Getty Images.
Then it's with me. It's a selfie.
Yeah.
But like then it's accounted for.
holding a clock.
Yeah.
like,
That's
and
accounted
the date.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because then it's okay.
Breakthrough.
Bro.
But don't you? Who do you call out to? You whether it's not you, who you set someone up as the
MOD or-
MOD, whatever it
It's
is.
usually a group chat, so it'll be like the person you're relieving and the manager. So like, I tend to get it. Like, so Cheese is my kitchen manager.
Yeah.
I'm like the umbrella over Cheese and Meggie.
Okay, so if he's the manager, I would call Cheese and be like, Cheese, this is what's going on,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
And then Cheese would communicate with the employees
Right,
that
right,
are
right.
leaving,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, we usually kind of just do
There
it as
has to be a chain of
we
command.
we don't do phone calls anymore
Yeah.
in 2022. We do group texts. So nobody can see me throwing up the phone signs as I'm doing this. But,
Is that what you were doing?
But yeah, you just throw up a group chat. Even though Cheese is off that day and I'm off that day, the two managers that know how to handle the situation.
You notify
find out.
the person in
Right.
charge, and that's part of their job. And
Yeah. Why are we overcomplicating this?
Well, we just want to know,
where the line is.
right, where's the line?
Yeah.
And there's no to say this is the line, because the line's
yeah.
always
I
moving.
think we're
I think
really
I'm-
trying to find, is there such thing as a line? in
That's
this
why
book?
I'm getting so frustrated, because there isn't. And in my eyes, there isn't a line. And I think I've been managing this way for so long that I'm resistant to the line. So I'm getting like, why are we trying to find a line where there isn't a line? Just because I manage that way doesn't mean everyone should. So I got to be a little bit open to that. But that's why I don't do a line, because it's just so exhausting.
I think there are individual lines based
Correct.
off the person's performance and what they bring to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can kind of have certain
Yeah,
things
see,
like this
that's
guy's
where-
line is like
I agree, but I get so nervous because now you have to treat everybody as equals. You can't say
You're not
well,
putting it on a
just don't tell 'em
whiteboard
about
in
your
the
lines.
back, like how you're going to treat everybody.
Listen, with everybody suing everybody these days, you have to have documentation. You have to have backup. You could have one employee sue you for whatever reason it may be. If they say, I was treated differently because, you have to prove that you weren't,
yeah.
that they weren't. And that's
Yeah.
that's really
it's-
my big fear is someone's going to come up and say, you fired me for being 2 minutes late, and this person was 50, or you fired me for being 20 minutes late. This person was late for being 2 minutes late. You didn't fire them.
Right.
Well, 2 minutes late's not really late. Well, then
You know what, though? When they show up late to the court date, you'll be fine.
yeah, I know.
Carl's got a really good point, because you do have to be careful. So I worked at this one place, which will remain nameless, and there was one guy who was gone before I got there. He gave his notice, took all of his contacts, and this is a industrial sales type of position, all of his contacts to the new company that he was working to, and took all that business away from the company.
Ooh.
So the company went after him. And his argument in the lawsuit was that he was harassed because someone had photoshopped a picture of him onto like some woman's body, or I wasn't there when it happened.
Sounds like fun.
But basically, like, at the time, it was all like, ah, ha, ha. And even he thought it was funny. But when push came to shove, he had that little get-out-of-jail-free card that the company ended up having to just cut their losses and try to rebuild that business because someone fucked with him, like, 3 years ago. And he's like, oh, I had to leave because I was being harassed.
I don't see that where, even in minus the picture, where he did anything wrong. Like, if he has if customer base trusts him and wants to do business with him and not with the company, that's on... unless he signed a non-compete.
That's what I was going to say. It depends on what you sign.
Yeah, if you signed a non-compete,
Guess what I signed when I started working there?
But I know this is going to piss you off a little bit.
Yes.
And I'm old school. I'm old school, and you're kind of middle school.
I'm middle school, yeah.
And I know...
Still have acne.
You put it this way. I know that I can't control it. I don't know how other places do it. Phone use. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody should be on their phone during their shift. I mean, you should not be on your phone. Well, what if it's an emergency? Well, they can call a restaurant, or there's been a life before phone, cell phones and mobile phones.
Yeah.
People found you if there's an emergency. There's ways to find you. And I'm okay using your phone if you say, listen, I got a sick kid and the babysitter, and I told him to call me if anything's going. Do you mind if I just keep my phone over there and just look at it every once in a while and make sure they're not texting me? I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. But it seems these days that everybody's on their phone. They're on their phone. They take an order. The place is packed. They take an order from a table. They walk over. They go to key it in, and they're on their phone while they key it in. How do you control that?
Pull up my cameras. We can see that right now. Guaranteed.
And everybody says, oh, yeah, your servers are on the phone all the time. How do you control that? I don't know the answer to this.
Yes, yeah. That's actually, I'm not going to get pissed off about this one, Carl, because that's one where there's a real hard. You can draw the line. You can have them all drop their phones in a box when they punch in. And I will say this: Speedwell's been open for 9 years. I've always kind of allowed phones. I've been like, hey, just don't shove it in everybody's face. And
go in the bathroom. Go downstairs.
We've had a couple meetings where we were like, guys, got to ring it back in. No pun intended.
Hey!
This fucking guy.
Too. But what was I saying? But there's never been an emergency. I've had countless staff members with an open phone policy for 9 years. Not once can I remember where someone's mom called and said, hey, you got to get home right now.
Dude.
Not fucking once. So that emergency thing is bullshit.
Right.
Absolute bullshit.
So how do you do it? How would you
let them do it? And it fucking, what's nice is I hate Yelp and I hate reviews and I hate all that, but it kind of pleases itself. Like, all right, I'm not going to, I'm like, here, guys, I'm trusting you. I know you're going to be on your phones. Just don't be belligerent about it. And then you get a Facebook review that pops up on your freaking, I get the notifications all the time. Server couldn't be bothered, would rather be on the phone the whole time. Well, guess what? You were belligerent about it. Now you're getting reprimanded. Am I always going to catch them in that way? No, but it's eventually going to catch up with them because they're going to be on it more and more and more the more they get away with it. And then eventually they get caught, and then I got to talk to them like a child, and no one likes to be talked to that way. And reduce everybody's phone privileges now because one person spoiled the tree. And
how do you reduce it? Like,
you just tell them you're gonna fucking be on it, or you threaten, like, I'm gonna make you put your phones in the safe when you come in, which I'm never gonna fucking do.
Right. It's how we police being late. It's case by case basis.
Case by case basis.
You know what I mean? If you're gonna, if you keep doing it, you just get reprimanded. You get talked to about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Reel it in. Stop coming in early.
But I think what Karl was really trying to get to is that case by case basis puts you as a business in
vulnerable.
In vulnerable. In
danger
of
it sure does.
A wrongful. Not prosecution. Wrongful termination.
But, so far, through this whole conversation, and remind me if I forgot it already, is so far, as a group, we have no absolutes.
Yeah, because even stealing,
what is the definition of stealing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's really...
All right, killing somebody.
Well, it depends on who.
You choke a guy out because he was trying to shoot somebody and he dies. I mean, you were defending the restaurant.
Right.
You saved a couple lives.
I mean...
Not killing somebody.
What about uniforms? Like, let's say you give everybody I call it a uniform or a staff shirt, and they have to wear Speedwell Tavern.
Yeah.
They have to wear that shirt.
That's a loose one. I've always been really sort of
As long as it's black, I guess.
Not even
But
anymore.
even not even.
I don't even care anymore. Like, when we first opened, I was carrying over a lot of the rules from my previous place.
I'm glad your
of
staff listens to this.
employment. And no, they know. I mean, I haven't reprimanded anybody about a uniform. I don't think since maybe year one, if I even did. I might have just said, like, passive aggressively in an email, hey guys, I pay a lot of money for those shirts you're all stealing from my office. Stealing.
Whoa! But I'm not firing
Can you
it.
at least fucking wear them? But now I'm like, kitchen guys, I don't care what you wear because it's going to get covered in grease. And then on the floor, I'm like, just wear what's comfortable and make sure you do a good job. Like, I don't care. Just don't wear something offensive. I mean, I printed shirts with my head bouncer, Jeff, friend of the show, throwing his middle finger out to a customer that was unruly. Standing outside. I guess I'm a special case. Like, Speedwell's
you are.
kind of like that place. You know, like, I don't care what our perception is. I more cater to who's already going there instead of who's gonna come there. You know, and maybe not the most perfect business model. It's worked for 9 years. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Eventually, I might sit in a courtroom one day because of that mentality. But I'm going to keep fucking rolling the dice like you did in Vegas.
Woo! Yes.
What if, killing is kind of obviously a joke, but what if there was a fight?
Yeah, if it was a fight. And
What if there was, like, a bartender got a really unruly drunk that said just the right... Everyone has that thing that will set them off in a second. Mm-hmm. Takes a swing at them.
Yeah, that's tough. And I feel like we've had that. I can't
then
think of one.
you
Ryan,
could
can you
also-
think of an example of when we've had like an employee get into an actual physical fight with somebody?
No,
And not a
I can
bouncer. I
remember
feel
an
like a
example
bouncer's
where-
But you
Right,
can
right.
then go
A
back and
bartender's
say,
boyfriend
well, it's a
has.
case-by-case
Yes,
basis.
that's the one I'm
Right.
thinking about.
But
Did
yeah,
the guy
I can't-
antagonize him looking for that fight?
Right.
So again, it's we're looking for that absolute. What's the
I
absolute?
still... Even
And
if you
know,
got...
now,
it's-
is there?
Even if someone was antagonizing you, it's still your choice to throw the punch. Like, I've had people that work for me that came out to me. They're like, "Hey, just so you know, you're gonna get a complaint. I told the customer to go fuck themselves."
Yeah, if you're throwing the first punch.
But if you're throwing
That's an
a
absolute.
punch, I feel
You think?
like
yeah, if you're throwing the first
and
punch.
if you're throwing the first punch, it's obviously not in self-defense.
Unless, like, I mean, again, what scenario are we talking about? Is someone about to do something to somebody else, and you're throwing the punch to stop them to do that?
If this is not there's no immediate violence apparent.
Then that's a unique situation.
'Cause that
How
was-
can you
right.
make it an absolute? You're
Correct.
making just that one individual
Well, no, but
situation.
because what I'm saying, because what you're talking about is a self-defense. Even if you're defending someone else, it still kind of falls under self-defense.
Went from ripped jeans to killing people.
I know.
Yeah, shit, huh? Really
Welcome
quick.
to the Bar
Well,
Talk Podcast.
ripped jeans was obviously not going to work as an absolute.
All right, so if Mercury's in retrograde and you're wearing a green shirt and the guy's 6'3", not 6'2", because if he's 6'2", then you punch him in the face, but you punch him with your left because it's not your strongest arm, and you're wearing a Speedwell sweatshirt, but it's inside out. Do you fire that person?
but
This
that's
is what we do.
You have to have
Yeah.
the presence of mind at the time to have
Yeah.
have all that.
Right, and it was kind of dark in the room. You didn't mean to.
I thought it was my ex-wife. It wasn't.
But I
Yeah.
mean,
This is what we do.
I don't think it's that fine of a line to be like you're throwing a punch at someone and it's not self-defense. I feel like
But that employee's going to come back at you and say, this is why I did this. You can't fire me. I was defending your business, blah, 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 blah. And it's going to create that muddy situation.
No,
Yes,
because-
it's so far everything's been muddy, and I
I
can't
don't know.
argue
I
to say it's
just,
not.
I just
because
don't find it
I'm with
muddy
you.
that you hit
Now, what
someone.
if?
Yeah.
I mean, let's go to the more serious things. Not that killing people isn't serious, but
Hey, Jordan left
the world is different
these days.
than it
I'm on
was
meds.
when I was coming out of high school.
for sure.
There's a lot of different people out there in the world, and they all should be made comfortable.
Sure.
If somebody comes into your business, or an employee that you have, let's just use that another employee made them uncomfortable in the workplace,
Okay.
and I use that as just a broad statement,
Right,
because
because
it
that
could
could be a
really
lot
be
of things.
anything.
It's a good one.
Is that a black and white?
Depends on what they did to make them uncomfortable.
Obviously,
of course it's not.
Obviously, if it's
I mean, it
the
could
word
be
depends
it
comes
could be
in, it's not black and
sexual
white.
harassment.
Right, yeah.
It could be
Yeah, but a person being sexually harassed could have a different definition of what sexual harassment is. Like, you could be coming in and saying, hey, you work for me, Meggie works for me. You come in and say, hey, Meggie, you look good in that red shirt today. You're just trying to give her a compliment for wearing a red shirt. She's like,
Absolutely.
last time someone complimented me on a red shirt, they touched me inappropriately.
That's
So
sexual
Karl,
harassment. Yeah.
Well,
There you go.
it's-
Now you have ambiguous.
I'm gonna misquote someone whose name I can't remember, but there was a judge and it was a pornography case, and he said, "I don't know what pornography is, but I know when I see it." And like that's that kind of like it's hard to say until it happens. Then you go like, oh shit, yeah, that was clearly
Right.
across the line.
That's the best way to sum this all up. It's hard to
Pornography.
say until it happens.
Yeah.
And pornography. No, it's malicious was the hard thing
Malicious
to say in this
pornography.
episode. Malicious.
malicious pornography.
Melissa?
Name
Melissa?
my death metal band.
Aloysius?
Yeah, but again, I still have a hard time if you are inciting physical violence short of self-defense. You're wrong. Like,
Yep.
I think that's the hard absolute.
I think places that are big and corporate that have absolutes because they have a lot more to lose can spend a lot more money on lawyers to create these absolutes and cover their asses for all this weird a gray area that's in between. Where small businesses like us have a disadvantage where we do have to kind of handle it as we have to be not only the janitor, the cook, the bartender, we got to be the
Right.
lawyer, the human resources guy.
And we do have the ability to play human resources.
Make
That's
a
the thing.
judgment call.
Right.
Is the big corporate can't do that.
Correct.
They can't
Yes.
take it on a case by case basis because they have 10,000 cases.
Because this guy's in Texas and the restaurant was in Minnesota.
Correct. We got the human. We literally are seeing it happen before our eyes, and we have a smaller workforce, and it's up to you. We're hiring. We're physically doing the hiring. We're not going from some agency that recruits people for us, and we never physically meet them. That we're looking face to face with the people we hire, so we know kind of like. Me and Ryan, you guys have all been saying, case by case.
Now, Ryan, what if you have a guy that keeps showing up wearing a Christmas Hawaiian shirt when it's June? Is that a fireable offense?
Well, is it policy?
First round's on me.
How's your Guinness today?
All right,
Every
so
time.
let's lighten the conversation and do
Thank
some
fucking God.
Q&A.
Let's do some Q&A. I didn't realize this was going to get Jordan so fired up. Is that why you want to do it, Carl?
Rhino's gonna go. He's gonna do last call.
Oh,
I gotta
Ryan,
bounce.
what's your last call? He's
Oh,
off the
shit. I had time to think about this, too.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
You get
That
to shout
place
out.
you work
You get
at's
to shout out
pretty sweet.
whatever you want.
Oh, you already shout out Speedwell. Speedwell's
Yeah.
rad,
So
man.
you can shout out disc golf.
Disc golf, man. I'm going to play disc golf right now. Homies. UMass Dartmouth, baby. I'm going to go out there, throw some dubs, and play a couple rounds, man. Yeah, it'll be a good time. Shout
our
out
friends-
disc golf.
Is that what you
Show.
call it when you throw a frisbee? Throw some dubs?
Throw some dubs. They said we're going to smoke some dubs, but smoke some dubs, throw some dubs.
I just snot rocketed.
Shout
all
out
over my
Heat
sofa.
Rossi, Cheese. Big Cheese, hanging out with Cheese today.
Our friends
Yeah.
at
Manager of
Barrel
the
House Z
Speedwell.
have
See,
like
canoodling outside of work.
putting
I don't know if I
putting
approve of that.
greens for disc golf in their tent.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, man. Yeah, UMass Dartmouth has a 9-hole course
Nice.
right on campus, which is pretty rad.
Nice.
So, yeah, going to go out there and do our thing.
I'll tell Cheese we said hi.
Yeah, we'll do. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for
Appreciate
being
it.
on, Ryan.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. The remaining people, the two that remain.
I know.
Joe Graziosi, can you pay a restaurant worker by 1099?
I don't know.
I think you could massage what a restaurant worker is, but if you say a bartender, I think if they work for you full time, no.
I don't think you can because of like workers' comp and shit.
You could if you say like in Vegas where I just lost all my money, they don't hire waitresses; they hire models
Right.
to waitress, and it's their own company, so they 1099 them.
Okay.
That's
So
definitely
you could do
massaging that out.
that,
Literally massaging. That's
but you
probably why
could
they're
do
1099.
that. You'd really have to find the loopholes.
Yeah.
I mean, really find the
Yeah,
loopholes.
you're going to want to talk to a lawyer.
Yeah. Other than like,
Because isn't the whole thing about a 1099 worker is someone that makes their own schedule?
No, it's somebody who owns who has their own company.
Okay.
So, like a musician,
Yeah.
that's their company. It's
Yeah.
Karl Heine Music, blah blah blah. And it's just me,
or it's
Right.
just their name.
and it's how they
It's
report their taxes.
Yeah. They're gig workers.
Yeah, it's how they report their taxes. But I don't know if you can do that with an employee of what you do. So I don't employ the musicians. I pay the musicians. I pay their
For a
company,
service.
and it could be their name, could be whatever. I
Right.
pay them for their service. They're not employees of this company.
Right.
If it's an employee of your company, you cannot 1099 them. But where does that line is? I just don't know enough about it.
Yeah, I don't see why you would want to do that besides maybe when Karl originally brought up with Vegas where you're doing more than just cocktailing. You're kind of I'm thinking like strip club.
Yeah, if you're a stripper,
You know,
You can get 1099.
and that takes all the liability away from the business on what they do when they're on their shifts.
Yeah, I don't know all, but yeah, I just don't know enough about
They're
it.
not. I mean,
I don't know enough
If a
about it.
musician comes in and strumming their guitar, I'm 1099 in them, and their guitar string pops off and slashes them across the eye. I'm not liable for that shit. It's their guitar. It's their shit. They're 1099. They're not under workers' comp, so they go to the hospital. They're not going to say I hurt myself at Speedwell.
Sometimes I think we're liable for everything.
Well, I think everyone thinks we're liable
Yeah.
for everything, but I could see that.
So I don't know. I don't think you can.
It sounds like you're
But
trying to do
there's-
something shady.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to do something shady, get a shady lawyer
Right.
to help you do your shady
Yeah,
shit.
and don't put it on a public email.
Yeah, don't email us about it.
Mm-hmm.
Erica Elliott, question. My fellow bartenders are telling me I am old because I insist on my money being faced in the drawer. The only bartender here that does it. Thoughts?
I like the money faced in the drops, not necessarily in the drawer, because I think that's impossible. But I want people to be careful when they're counting their cash out at the end of the night. And I also have to make a deposit with all of 30 people's cash from the whole week. 30 different cash outs, maybe more, maybe 50 cash outs. I don't want to be sorting out everybody else's money. It's much easier. Hey, you're already counting your money. Sort it out while you're doing it. It shows that you're being careful, taking your time, respecting the fact that the cash is going in the safe. So that's where I'm anal, is face your money when you're doing your drops. In the drawer, how do you do that?
Well,
you're going to spend more nights in your drawer.
That's right.
facing
I
every-
agree 100%.
Yeah.
And we never agree 100%. But if you're, when you put your money in at the end of the draw, let's say you have a big cash deposit, I don't want it every other way and upside down and backwards and all that. I'm not saying they all have to be facing the same way, but at least put face up, face down.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that to every $1 bill, $5 bill, then you're spending too much money on that, and you got ADD or whatever you want to call it. You're spending the time doing that you should be spending on something else.
It's just like every
And I
time
don't
you
care.
go-
I don't care if it's in your mind and it's bothering you. That's not what I'm paying for. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If it's a slow night and you say, nah, I'm just going to straighten all this before the end of the night, I don't care.
Right.
But if there's people at the bar and you're like, oh, the ones are facing all the wrong way,
You're gonna get bigger problems, yeah.
That's my absolute.
You know, it's funny. Like initially, I was going to be like, "Oh, fuck those people! No, all the money should be facing." But working at the beer cellar, it's a very, I don't want to say it's very slow because that's not right. But
No, it's a different speed.
It's a different speed than when on a Friday night you have 40 people wanting drinks.
Right.
When you brought that up, I'm like, oh yeah, there's no fucking way that you could even. If you did that, you'd be an idiot.
Right. It's like what we were saying earlier with the pepperoni. If you're spending time worrying about that one slice of pepperoni, you're missing way bigger, more
We
important
weren't getting
things.
it one. That's not what we meant.
Right,
Jordan.
make it a mushroom.
Don't- It's fine.
Oh, mushrooms! Oh, mushrooms! Oh, mushrooms! You better be counting your mushrooms.
Not those mushrooms.
What if it was a steak tip, Jordan?
All right, now we'll fucking talk. I got the pat on the back for that. Like, he was genuinely concerned about my pepperoni.
I didn't realize how upset you were going to be about the whole hard and fast.
Well, I
rules.
guess that's why I brought it up because
I hate rules.
Yeah.
that's
just not
that's
a-
why I brought it up because, in my opinion, there are little things and there are big things, and it could be a little thing of the same umbrella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you draw that line? And that's my biggest fear here is I let somebody go because of something small and something else is doing something bigger, and I don't let them go, and all of a sudden,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's you got to treat everybody equal, and that's the hardest thing in the world
It
to do
is.
is to treat everybody.
And
equal.
that was kind of my point. I think this was 3 episodes ago or whatever when I mentioned if you set a hard attendance rule of 3 attendance and whatever, if you have that really great employee that has a shitty personal life for 1 month, now you're firing them.
That's correct.
And
Great point.
If you make absolutes, you put yourself in a pigeonhole
Yeah.
that you have to.
And you have to.
Right. You have to follow.
Yeah.
And that's just so much more stressful to me than it is to just kind of take it case by case. And isn't treating everybody as an individual treating everybody equally? Like if you promise you're gonna,
I don't know. Geez, that's
dude.
I'm gonna have to think about that. Second.
Before
I agree, Len.
I've been hitting my vape pen.
I'm gonna
I was gonna say I'm not drunk or stoned enough to. But there's, I remember I read an article one time about how the Air Force took the average human height and made their cockpits around them, and in doing so, it fits fewer people.
That's a great analogy. So I can't go all trippy with my
Yeah.
shit, but you can crack
Because it's one of those things.
Yeah,
that
but I followed
yeah.
Andy's.
out
All right. Before we got stoned, what happened? Who's going on? What? Benjamin, I don't smoke enough weed in my life, really.
It's
I don't
just
smoke 'cause
it's the
it's
bee's
illegal.
knees, Andy.
It's not illegal.
Whatever.
Benjamin M. Selim.
Anyway,
I'm not trying that one.
Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, Andy,
Hello, guys.
You're off the hook.
We are about to open a second location in about a month. I am working on a pre-open checklist. Do you have one? Like, the thing about checklists is they're only good for about a week. Because then everyone like gets accustomed to it and learns it, and then it never goes.
and the only
anywhere.
time you need a checklist is when they're not doing what they're supposed to be.
Yeah,
doing.
point of
Right.
reference.
or someone's new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, what are some absolutes that have to be on the checklist, Carl?
Put
Like
the
how I
lights
rolled
on.
die, like how I turned that on.
Turn the lights on.
Yeah.
I'll give you one. Unlock the door. Do you know how many
Unlock the
times?
door. There's an absolute. There is no case where the.
But if you really have to put that on the checklist,
Dude,
you don't want that person.
you do.
I'm
have
telling
to.
you right now.
That's the problem.
I have literally had phone calls. Are you guys open today? At the beer cell, I'll be like, yeah, man. He's like, well, the back door's locked. I'm like, fuck. Because when I get there so early, I lock the door behind me, and
Yeah.
then it's happened more than I
Yeah,
like
no,
to admit.
I agree. Checklists,
Open flag out.
and I'm not
TV's
saying they're not doing what's on the checklist, but they won't check off what they did on the checklist after a couple of
Right,
weeks.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Have a checklist,
Yeah.
and they might even be going through it, but they're not going to check and sign their name. And
It's
Yeah.
taking away time from their setup. They're like, I already know what I have to do. I'm not
Right.
going to go back to the list and hit this.
and
every
most of
single
the people
time.
say, well, that's insulting. I'm like, well, it's not for you. If you're doing all this, why can't you just check it off anyway? Why
Yeah,
is that
right.
insulting?
Take it personally.
Yeah, you're already doing it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I write myself a list 12 times a day for myself.
But they're not the same. It's that same repetitive list. Because,
Yeah.
like, once you remember, once you get the list, why go back to the list?
And I guess you know what? You don't have to be a stickler about them signing it off until they miss something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
And then you got to be like, well, this is why I have the list. And
That's
you just
right.
play that tug of war
Yes.
all day, every day.
Yep. It's on the list. Oh,
Yeah.
well, we don't go by that. Oh,
Yeah.
you don't.
Well,
Nice.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can make a list, but realize that people are only going to use it for about a week.
Amen.
What is your favorite and least favorite POS? Can we do this? Can we call them? Yeah, I feel like
I
That's
mean-
tough because usually you're just dealing with one that you're dealing with.
yeah.
Like I've had one here for 10 years that we deal with. It's the only one I know of, so I can't really say, well, this one and this one and this one. I have nothing to compare it to.
I don't think we're the people that should be asked that. I think that's for like servers that have been working at a bunch of different
Yeah.
restaurants, like
Yeah.
user
Right.
friendly. You know, so I don't really have a choice there. I've been pretty much with the same two systems.
Well,
the
let
entire
me
time.
reframe it. What is the biggest thing you would like to see changed about your POS?
See, it's tough because I don't know what the other ones
Oh no, but I'm
can
just
do.
like, is
like
there something?
Jordan,
is there something that you wish it did?
I'm getting there, for Christ's
Okay.
sakes. So, I believe on Jordan's, correct me if I'm wrong. I cannot get mine on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I cannot look what sales we did, what people are punching in, how the night's going. I cannot punch into my POS system on the phone. It just doesn't have that ability because it's an older system. Do I wish I could do that? I'm really not sure.
You could.
I would like to do it, but I'm not sure if that's a good thing because I think I would be always looking at it.
You get tired. Of
Yeah, because not having
you
it,
don't look at it. Anymore.
not having it is okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in the building every day anyway, so I just check the previous night's sales or whatever I need to check. So yeah, do I wish I had it on my phone? Sometimes, and then sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm just out to eat with my wife. I don't need to know what the restaurant is doing right now because she's gonna slap me in the face again.
Mm-hmm. It is good for so like checking reports and stuff. Like for at first when I was able to do that, and I don't use. Not that it really matters, but I check my POS through a third-party log me in like corporate places use. I was able to kind of grandfather my way in. Long story short, I log into my desktop remotely through my phone, then log into the Aloha and look at it through there. But it's great because the thing I least like about my POS system is how I program the buttons. It's like a 4-step system every time if you want reporting to be accurate. Wicked pain in the ass, especially if you have 24 draft lines that change every day. So I'm constantly putting buttons in the computer, constantly missing buttons to put in the computer, which sucks for the servers because I go to ring something and it's not there. Nice thing I can do is log in on my phone.
But can somebody there make that button?
No, I have to do it. It's a manager-only thing. If I give them access to do that, they got access to do a lot more shit I don't want them having access to.
See,
and
so
they
here-
can do it wrong. They could screw up the whole thing, too.
No doubt. But
Yeah.
here I give my managers access to that. So they can set up buttons or delete buttons or however it is. So they can do that on the fly.
And there's something.
But the regular waitresses, bartenders, they don't have access to it. It's just the managers.
Right.
I have.
So you create 100% of
That's okay. I didn't have something.
your inventory, your buttons.
I do all that.
Nobody else.
Nobody else. It's all me. And it's the way I kind of prefer it. I mean,
Yeah.
eventually I'm going to have to, with the other place opening up, I will have to pass it over to Maggie a little bit.
Right.
And I'm comfortable with her
Yeah.
doing it. But it is like, I've had this system for 6 years and I still have trouble with it, like programming it. So like passing it off, it's like, am I helping myself or hurting myself? Because I'm going to be correcting her shit now. Right. And it's no fault of hers. It just sucks to program it. These newer ones are way more streamlined. These pad-based ones, tablet-based.
Mine's real easy.
Yeah,
Like to create numbers and stuff.
Yours is an antique, but it works.
I got colors on it now.
What's it called? Like Posy Touch? Not Posy Touch.
No, we're not.
Oh yeah, we're not naming it.
Yeah.
I named mine.
All right. I forgot what I was gonna say. So
Sorry, Andy.
That's all right. Lee Westmoreland. Okay, someone just asked for a fuck Putin shot. Anyone know the proper way to make one? I heard OJ vodka and blue curacao. Is that
Oh, yeah,
What?
yeah.
You gonna use Russian vodka?
No, yeah, it's you do like it's trying to like make it look like the Ukrainian flag.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, you put blue curacao on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And then you mix the OJ and I think a non-Russian vodka and float it on the top of the blue curacao.
Can we talk about this whole Poland vodka thing?
Yeah.
It's so pissing me off.
Okay, so can I be?
Sure.
I screwed up on this. So, and I didn't market it, but I texted my entire staff and I was like, "Hey guys, we're gonna pull all Russian vodka from the shelves." And I pulled a bunch of vodka that I've been bartending for 20 years. So I pulled vodka that used to be Russian that isn't Russian anymore. And like, that is the exact opposite of what you want to do because the countries nearby, like Latvia, are the last thing they need is people mistaking them for Russia.
Yes.
So. Do your research.
To me, it's all right. Here's the real world thing. Speedwell,
Dun, dun, dun.
New World. If every bar in downtown Plymouth pulled their Russian vodka, it would mean not a fucking thing to Russia.
Right. You're just
If our government
Virtue
puts it,
seeking.
yeah, it's fine if you want to do it out of. But it's just such a empty. And I posted something on the Bar Talk thing and I said, "Have we learned nothing from Freedom Fries?"
It's a perfect example.
You know, it really.
Okay.
The person
I don't
here
wanna-
not
I don't-
selling a shot of vodka does not help.
I don't want to talk politics because I absolutely abhor
That's a
politic
bar rule.
talks.
That's an absolute.
It is an absolute.
No politics.
But if you were to ask me my opinion on that, and if I did put all my Russian vodka off, it would not be because I think it's going to hurt Russia. It's because it makes me feel better about supporting other countries.
Yeah.
So,
And then you got the clientele.
yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not hurting Russia.
Yeah. No.
But in my mind,
I have nothing,
I'm doing what I want
right.
to do.
And
It's a
I have nothing-
solidarity thing.
Yeah, and I have no problem with that. But it was everyone being like, we're in solidarity and we're pulling our Russian vodka, and it was just like, not Russian vodka, not Russian vodka,
Right.
not
Yeah.
Russian vodka.
And not just that.
Yeah.
To your point, Andy, it's basically just saving your own skin. You're trying to make it without putting a gun in your hand and going over to the Ukraine yourself. You're trying to make it seem like you're supporting.
Well, the thing that bothers
Look
me...
at what I did. I pulled my vodka.
The thing that bothers me is a little bit of marketing off of someone else's tragedy.
Exactly.
That
That's
Nailed
what
it.
bothers
Which
me.
is why I didn't market it.
Yeah.
I told the staff I was going to do it, and it was mainly because I saw other places doing it, and I wanted to protect them from having that customer being like, "Why are you serving Russian vodka?" That's why I did it.
Yeah.
Because then they got to answer a political question in a bar and be like, have this conversation that we're having right now instead of serving more drinks.
And what I would rather someone see is find a Ukrainian spirit
and support that.
and make a cocktail with that.
There you go.
You know?
That's a
Yeah.
much better, instead of deductive,
Right.
like product.
Help the guys that fucking need it.
Yeah.
All right. Jackie Mudry. Sure that's exactly how that's pronounced. Can you tell me where you can find this outside the restaurant? It is a blue tropical concentrate cocktail mixer.
That's just a bottle of Windex with a new label on it, is all that
It's
is.
exactly what it looks like.
It's Carl. I know you can't see it, but it legit looks like a gallon of like the
Windex.
dish detergent
Yeah.
we put in, and it just says Blue Tropical on it.
Ooh, yeah, I make.
I'm gonna look it up.
I make drinks for my wife with
all right,
that
ready?
stuff.
Do you really?
I'm gonna look it up, and
Is it antifreeze?
It looks like it.
Antifreeze. All right, let's
It
see.
actually looks like a jug you'd sell windshield washer fluid in.
Blue tropical
Concentrate cocktail mix,
I'm looking it up on Amazon.
which I feel like this person could have just done.
It's actually made in the Ukraine.
You had me for a second.
I
you
know.
had me.
I did too. I'm like, what? Yeah.
No, I can't find it on Amazon.
All right.
Yeah, so be
Sorry.
careful what you're drinking over in that bar.
I think it is the same manufacturer as of Pain Away,
Yeah, let's go. Pain away.
which I still owe Jordan for. Thank you so much.
No,
When I
you don't
broke
owe
my
me.
kneecaps.
I need you healthy.
Dude, I
You're a
was
positive influence
That
on
was
my life.
that was a very rough day. So I appreciate your help.
Alrighty, next.
I broke my knees.
Carl's uncomfortable.
Anyways, that's last call.
Let's go.
Last call
I
already.
gotta pee.
Yeah.
That's my last
That's your
call.
last call. That's unacceptable. Carl, what do you got?
All right. I'm going to go on a serious note.
Okay.
For all those listening out there, both of you. It's okay to have difference of opinions.
Yeah.
Jordan and I have difference of opinions on how to order in a restaurant. Neither
still
are
sort of get
right,
along.
neither are wrong. We can still get along. We may not agree all the time, and so you hear us argument quite a few times. But there are some things that we, like the absolutes. We don't have absolutes.
Nope.
But that's what gets the conversation going. So I'm putting a shout out to my dear buddy Jordan, who is always wrong.
I want to piggyback that. That's a good point because I think a lot of the tension and sometimes some of the stress in the restaurant industry is because of conflicting opinion and values. And Carl's absolutely right. Anytime you interact with somebody that doesn't necessarily think or believe what you believe or think the way you do is an opportunity to learn why they think that way. If you truly respect the person you're interacting with, then you should value how they got to their opinion instead of why their opinion is different from yours. Man, that soapbox preach, man.
Yeah.
That's nice.
This episode will never air.
Fuck you both. Pineapple belongs on pizza. Come at me, bro.
And I almost spit.
No, I love that. I'm going to shout out a friend of the show. We were just talking about him, I think, pre-recording. Teddy McGuire. He's got a great book called The Bar Talk Qualifier. And you can find it.
It's not the bar talk qualifier.
What did I just say? Bar
Dive bar.
Oh my god!
We don't have
dive
I'm
bar.
thinking about writing a book.
The dive bar qualifier by
do
Teddy
on a
McGuire.
podcast.
It's on Amazon. Check it out if you want to know if you're actually in a dive bar. He tells you how to determine that. It's a great book, good read, easy read, and check it out. I think that's all I got.
That's it,
So you can email us at bartalkcast@gmail.com with your questions, complaints. Mixologists who think Jordan's a douche. You can send those emails there. And you can find us on all the socials at bartalkcast, and we will catch you guys next time. And thanks for checking out the show today, listeners. If you enjoyed the content today, you can go over to patreon.com/inebriart to support the show. You can join over there for just a few dollars a month and help us provide this fun content that you just checked out. You can also email us at inebriart.com with your questions, complaints, and concerns, or you can find us on all social medias at inebriart or at inebriart6 on Instagram. And also don't forget to check out our other shows, Bar Talk Podcast, Old Colony Cast, Inebriart, and all the other shows on the Inebriart Network, which you can find at inebriart.com. Thanks again for listening.